Hello folks, Errol over here at Fineth with a little summary of the past several weeks where winter has finally turned into spring. As you can see, a couple weeks ago we still had pretty solid snowpack on everything, and then we got several days in that climbed nearly to 50s during the day, back below freezing at night, but that melted a lot of snow. Chickens started exploring all the melting edges for any bugs that got uncovered, and spring seemed to be on its way. But before all the snow melted, I had a really spectacular experience. For the first time in my life, I got to see the northern lights over our house. They can be seen here in Wyoming at times, but it's fairly rare, and every other time in the nearly 2 decades I've lived in Wyoming that there was supposed to be a chance of seeing them. It was cloudy or snowy or something else, and these were pretty spectacular. I do not have the equipment to film them, but I was able to get some still shots that I thought were pretty cool, and it was a very special experience running around outside in the snow in the middle of the night for several hours, getting to record this beautiful phenomenon. The creek started flowing with all the snow melt coming off of the valley floor. Nothing has really started yet to melt in the mountains, but when water started flowing down through here, as you can see, there was still snow berms and piles. It was having to eat its way around, so it took a little bit for it to find its way along there. And Burley seems to be gradually recovering. He still is too hot anytime the sun comes out, so he looks for the remaining snow piles to lay on. That's his favorite spots. And fortunately, overall, given everything that happened, he seems to be doing fairly well.
What do you all want? You think I got something for you? Sometimes right now my hands just have a camera. Not much good for a chicken. Yeah, you want to come see me? You've got a piece of straw stuck on your bill, you know that? Yeah. These little guys are growing feathers. You can kind of see how they grow them underneath first. And the opposite of what a chicken does. They still got these little teeny wings. Don't look like they've grown at all, but their feathers grow underneath where they would be in contact with the water, instead of on their wings and backs first, like a chicken. They are getting big quick. You can see behind there through the fence one of our, 7 or 8 week old chicks now. And these guys are at least twice as big as it, and they're 2 weeks old.
That's pretty much all salve you see around his missing eye, but it is healing up, and we are so thankful that he is still here with us.
You guys like that lettuce? Oh yeah, that's pretty yummy, isn't it? Good duck ducks.
Foggy's chicks don't look much like chicks anymore. They're still not as big as the big birds, but otherwise they kind of look just like small chickens, and they are exploring outside pretty close to as far as the big ones range as the snow recedes. They still stay a little bit closer to the barn, which is probably a good idea, but they are very proficient at doing all of the big chicken things, and it's fun to watch them grow, of course, and see their real feathers fill in and what colors they look like they're going to be. The kittens are all growing fast and loving exploring and just being adorable kittens as they figure out how the world around them works. And even though he didn't feel great, Burley still wanted to just stay near them because he loves his little kittens. And so we've tried to keep his schedule as normal as possible, where he could hang out and, if it wasn't going to hurt him, do all the things he loves to do, like supervise the babies and see what they're doing. And when they're not busy playing, they all like to pile on this bed on top of the wood pile with one or both parents and sleep in a big cat puddle of everybody together, which I think is kind of cute. This might be why we've never had problems with cats messing with our chickens. The chickens were adults when we got the cats, and they just pecked them anytime they wanted to do something. So the cats learned they don't mess with chickens. The very first leaves are starting to pop out on things like the currant bushes. They're the first bush around here to leaf out, so that's exciting to see. And it looks like a pair of swallows has decided to use one of our little birdhouses again this year. As the snow recedes, things like rhubarb leaves start popping through, and by a day later they can go from that really pinky orange to getting some green on them. There's also clover leaves coming through the dead stuff, and so on. because we have had alternating warmer and cooler days. At times the snowmelt has frozen up entirely again, which completely stopped flow in our creek. And then by the next afternoon, if it got warmer, it would do this, where you can see the water slowly making its way back down the stream bed there as the melt increases through the day and more water starts pouring into the aquifer. It's kind of neat to watch it refill, I think. Various of the spring birds have been returning one after another, like mountain bluebirds and robins and so on, that don't winter here, but they're here all summer, so it's always exciting to see their bright colors come flitting back around the place. I knew our adult cats caught a lot of rodents around here, which is their job, but I didn't realize quite how many until they started bringing them back for the kittens to play with. The kittens have not, to the best of my knowledge, successfully caught anything on their own yet, but when their parents bring them one like this, they sure love practicing making it deader than it already was. And this is an excellent way, of course, for baby things to practice all their natural skills, and hopefully they will soon be an excellent part of the rodent patrol here as well. But yeah, it's been just amazing to me, the sheer volume of small rodents that the adults are bringing in for the babies to play with. It's got to be the reason we don't have mice in the shop, mice in the barn, mice eating our chicken food, etc. It's pretty incredible. Good boy. Good boy. Like normal in the spring, the weather has gone back and forth between freezing almost every night still, and sometimes warm and sunny days, sometimes foggy and or cloudy and or rainy, icy, snowy days. So it's kind of a general mix of spring weather, but as you can see, the grass, which is the one thing I'd really rather not have growing here since it's all quack grass and tries to choke out everything else we plant, that is the one thing that grows before the snow is even off of it. And you can see all the spots that melted first are pretty bright green. The last snow piles out there to melt were in the spots where it's a little more brown, but give it about 24 more hours and that will have turned green as well. And there's so much moisture evaporating off the soil there as the sun starts to warm it. You can see what looks like smoke rolling off the ground itself. That is all water evaporating off of the surface into the warmth, which is kind of neat to see. You can see it with the, just watching it at real speed as well, but it shows up very clearly with something like a time lapse like this. So things are greening here. You can see the snow's receding up the lower slopes of the mountains, though the up high is still quite a bit. The whole family sleeping together. I don't know if you can see all the kittens. They pile up pretty good. Just on top of their wood pile spot. We've seen the first few hummingbirds come back, and we had some chicks hatch out in an incubator, which was exciting. These guys the first batch all went to another little family in the area who wanted to raise Icelandic chickens as well. And then this batch, we only had 5 successfully hatch. I think we're having issues where all the eggs collected to put in here was still so far below freezing. We had some cold damaged eggs that didn't make it. But we had 5 hatch out successfully here. And after barely got done snuggling them, these guys hatched within a few hours of when Blackie's brood she was sitting on hatched. And since there was only 5, we just added them to the 9 that she successfully hatched, slipped them under her as well. They watched to see if she had any reaction to thinking they weren't hers, and she just kind of re-ruffled her feathers like, I don't know why you're messing with me. I've got this thing covered, and is raising all 14 as her chicks right now. So she has got quite the brood going on. But till they dried off and we took them out to her, Burley supervised, which is one of his very, very favorite things to do, is babysit little chicks. Blackie, of course, was our very, very first hen of our flock last year to go broody, and she successfully raised a batch of babies last year, and she is doing it again. It's just so fun to watch her be an excellent mother, raise these guys, and Icelandic chickens are tough. By the time they were 12 to 24 hours old, because they didn't all hatch at the exact same time, she had them outside where they could still retreat under her, even though it was only in the 40s, and over the next few days went from freezing to low 50s at different times. But she's had them outside every day, teaching them to scratch and peck and just be chickens. We're letting them run around under one of our little chicken tractors right now so they can't get too lost or overwhelmed by anything, since they're so teeny weeny. And when they're cold, they just snuggle under her. But a shocking amount of the day, they are outside and out from under her, even at freezing temperatures and less than a day old. They are just acting like normal chickens.
Make your picture happy. Like to have it to where I don't feel like I'm gonna fall through. You know, this one, they got it.
It's just the wrong spacing to put a foot through.
Yeah. That you're not gonna trip over anyway.
When Clay's had just a little time on the weekends, we have worked on some other tidying and improvement projects, fixing up the woodpile area to be able to split and stack a bunch more firewood into it for next year. That big firewood obviously did not ever go in the tiny house stove. It went in the big stove in the shop, and we need to get another couple years worth of wood ready for that, and fix up some, lumber storage spots here so that there's a handy way to store and organize and access spare lumber bits, because we collect those whenever we can and then use them for various building projects. Like you guys saw us build the chicken barn with a lot of reclaimed lumber and so on. So that's a lean-to organizing project we had going on here.
Could be.
The ducklings are learning to free range outside. They still haven't ventured too far from where they think their home is in their yard, but they're exploring a little bit. And Mama is still teaching her little chicks who scurry around under her, and there is just a beautiful mix of colors. It's going to be so much fun to see what these guys all look like as they mature and grow some real feathers. But when she decides they need a nap, she goes and snuggles in the crate, and they all dive under her feathers and snuggle up again. And then there was some more cold, drizzly days with downpours outside, so Burley and I did some work and napping inside and filmed birds through the window. And since everyone always asks what our different birds are, this next series of clips has that's a male red-winged blackbird in the foreground there. We have several of them around, well, quite a few. There's also house finches, Cason's finches, purple finches, some goldfinches, pine siskins, hummingbirds. I'm not sure if any of them made it into this footage, and another couple finches whose IDs I'm not entirely positive of because there's a lot of kinds of finches. More foggy, frosty mornings have continued, but as you can see, more and more things are growing, and the strawberries are pushing up new leaves, daffodils are pushing through, there's little leaves starting on various other berry bushes. It's exciting to see.
bub. Come here. Good boy.
The chickens still love anytime they hear the sound of chopping on the chopping block because they think that means that somebody's going to cut up a fish into little tiny bits for them. And when we do this, we always make sure that everybody gets some. The chickens eat a lot. Didn't take the ducks long to figure out that they would like this operation as well and come join the party. And we take some bits over to, Blackie and her babies, and the cats and the kittens all get some. Everyone gets a little bit. And the fish either... Well, Clay hasn't had any time to go fishing, but the fishes mostly right now come from some fishing trips my brother has been able to go on, or some of his friends. There's various species that are considered invasive in the area, so if you catch them, you're not supposed to ever put them back. And so his fisherman buddies are like, oh, well, if your sister's chickens all eat them, we'll do that rather than just pitching them out on the bank. So we are thankful for that supply of extra fish to feed to all of our critters around the property who love them. And check this out. The day before Blackie hatched her latest brood, this happened. That is Foggy, who already raised our batch of below zero chicks this spring and decided she was determined to sit another batch. So here she is in a different crate because we needed to have 2 maternity crates growing. The ladies are all busy bringing in pollen. If you want to see more of their journey, I did a pretty detailed video on what's going on in the hives just recently, so check that one out. And the very first dandelions have just opened, so that's the time of spring we're at. Whenever dandelions would very first open in your area, that's the stage we're at, and it's exciting to see. All kinds of native and wild pollinators are finding them right away as well. This is the duck's very first time in the creek. Took a little convincing to get them to figure out how to walk the whole way across the yard from their pen they know.
and come in here. But now that they're in here, they seem to pretty much be a fan. Just over a month old.
So I think we can say spring has arrived. All of the baby things are growing and maturing rapidly, and that's a little look at the happenings around our place at this time of year. Hope you guys enjoy all the sights and sounds as much as I enjoy watching them in real life.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Come back next time for more adventures.
Thanks for watching.